Hi there, Christine.
Hi there.
Welcome. So glad to have
Thank
you
you.
today.
Thank you for having me. So excited.
Hi, everybody. This is Donna Naumann, nurse practitioner. And today I am meeting here with Chistine. And Chistine is going to be talking a little bit about Reiki and how she's a Reiki master. And I know many people that are in my group specifically, probably 50% of the people have never heard of energy work or never done any kind of energy work. And so today, earlier, I did a live call that was just on food as medicine. And so that was really like blending like vitamin supplements and all those kind of things. And so now we're going to like turn the wheel and do some energy work. So this is Chistine Kissamis, and she is a Reiki master. And I've invited her here today to kind of talk about what Reiki is, how we use it, knowing too that I also do Reiki in my practice, but I think coming from a Reiki master just kind of really puts that whole energy right into where it needs to be. So Chistine, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started doing this kind of work.
Well, thank you. Thank you again, Donna. Well, I got started in 2018, so I'm kind of a newbie, as they may say. But when my mom had passed, and I was having a lot of body aches and a lot of stress and anxiety, which we all have in life, right? If it's one thing, it's something else. That brain that will bring on everything and all the stress. And I ran into someone who does Reiki, and she's like, "Why not? It's going to help with you. It's it's like a functional medicine where it's not, you're not being medicated. It's like a massage in the sense that it's very relaxing, only I don't touch people. So it's just to move just to clear out the energy throughout you. And most time we get stuck. Like today, it's my throat chakra. I'm nervous. I'm anxious about some things happened last night. So it's all stuck in here. Like I need to do Reiki on myself to clear that out.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you can kind of speak to that a little bit, because it's clearly like many people don't know what chakras are and where energy work comes from. And like that throat chakra is just that place where we're like identifying with who we are and speaking to people through our truth and our passion. And when those things get stuck in there, we can sometimes have issues. And it sounds like you were going through some stressful situations with your mom that were kind of laying a heavy burden in the body. And then you seeked out, maybe you didn't need medication. Maybe you didn't need to be on any Prozac.
Oh, exactly.
Maybe you just needed something to kind of take that edge off. And it sounds like that's what you did.
Right. Because I had friends who were like, just go get a massage. You're going to love it. Yeah. But I have sore muscles. I have the fibromyalgia. I'm like, I don't want anyone to touch me. It just hurts too much. And then that popped up. A Reiki popped up. And I'm like, well, tried it out. I did. I fell in love with it. I mean, it absolutely helped. And at work, because I'm still a full-time teacher. And I have my peers who would come in and be like, I have this horrible headache. I don't know what to do about this. I'm just so stressed out. I'm like, sit down, lay down. We're going to work on this. And it just centers you so that you feel like you can handle the world. You can take on what you have to take on. Because we know life doesn't give us more than we can actually handle, right?
Absolutely.
We all know that it's hard to swallow sometimes. Because we're like, really? Not this again. But in the end, it's just a way to the center for like a root for your seven of the chakras. You can go through, and I can tell too if it's more of a stomach issue, that there's more of how are you feeling? If it's more of if you've been upset lately, or you've had some of the trauma in your heart too. We get a lot of people with just so much heaviness on the heart, and we just are able to work on that. And the other part of it that's not known is I get messages as as I work with people.
Isn't that
kind of the
interesting how
clues?
isn't it kind of interesting how once you really
Right.
start getting into the energy work, how it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Energy
Right.
work, I would kind of explain it as that whole thing that starts to build layers too, that layers of your intuitive, that layers of that connection. I've also used it on my daughter who has migraines. We were in the mountains skiing, and she was
Mhm.
kind of having like that sickness that you get, and she gets the migraine, and I just kind of did the Reiki, and we kind of worked with that. And about an hour later, she was back on the slopes and she was good. And she swears
Yes.
by it. So,
Yes.
whether it doesn't really matter what people think, it's a prayer form. And I like to
Right.
think of it like we're praying over people, which in the old days, that's what they did in the Bible. We prayed over
Mhm.
each other. We had energy. Energy comes through the hands. Would you speak this a little bit about like how that energy goes to the systems of the body?
Right. So basically, as I start to pray, I'm just asking for the clear light of shine of all that is good to come through and heal. And then on my hand, you can actually feel it. What there, because I will ask the people, are you feeling anything? And they'll be like, I feel like a vibration, just something very light. I'm like, good, so it's working. Then I ask just to clear out the chakras, and if something is heavy, I work on that longer. I ask and for the angels to come in to help them heal. I'll get an idea or a picture that will pop in my head, and I'm like, something about a dog. There's something about your dad. What's going on? Why is your stomach in knots? What's happening here? And then two, with the root chakra, a lot that has to do with how you feel safe as a person. And maybe you've had a lot of trauma in your life and you just don't feel safe. So it helps to get them back to center, to feel more grounded and more safe again. And
I see that. I see that
handle.
root chakra a lot with people who
Yeah.
have like back pain,
Mhm.
people who have chronic back pain, and really, like I had a little girl that came in and she had been having back pain for years and years and years and never had a diagnosis. She'd had every MRI, physical therapy. She'd been to everybody. And I just asked her a simple question, like, have you ever had any trauma in your life? And she was like, starts to get teary-eyed and tells me that she lost her boyfriend in a car accident when she
Yeah.
was young and has had back pain ever since.
Yeah.
At that moment, first thing I'm going to is like, you need to do some work on that. Obviously, maybe, going to therapy, but also doing energy work because that stuff gets stuck.
Right.
Maybe explain a little bit about what a chakra is and where they're located for people that don't have a lot of information about what energy work is,
Yeah.
how that works.
Well, with the chakras, we have 7 of them that start from our 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 pelvis, our hips, all the way up to our crown of our head, and each one deals with how we're feeling, how secure we are. Our feelings are also big, and how we, if you're feeling nervous or or anxious, the many times too, you don't feel well, either. So with the crown chakra, I find a lot of that with my clients who are just so busy. They have 18 things to do. They can't think of what to do first and what here. And they're all over the place. You're just so unorganized too. So I'll start there on my patients, and then I work through the rest of the body. So we start with the head to get it calm, to get it centered, to come like back into the body where we're just calm and taking one step at a time. And then we work through the third eye. Then we have the throat chakra. Then we have the 2 of the belly ones that I like to call those. And then we have our root chakra too, that it's on the base. I don't find a lot with the roots, with the root chakra in the people that I've had so far. I find it more in the crown, the throat, and the heart. Just when like a parent dies, or there's been a death in the family, we get a lot of, and we tend to bottle things up, right? We don't live in a society that is like, be open, just tell us how you feel. Like, it's
Right.
okay.
No,
Everyone
it's like, hide
expects
it.
you to, yeah, everyone
How are
expects
you
you to,
today? Oh, I'm good. Like
yeah,
nobody ever
I don't
goes,
want to hear
oh,
about
I'm
it.
awful. Oh my gosh.
Right. Put on your makeup, do your hair, and move on, you know, kind of deal, where it's like people need a time to release that. And there are times I do have clients who cry, and I start to feel bad, like, please don't cry. It's okay, you know, but it's a way of them to release that emotion, and then they feel relief afterwards.
Yeah, I'd like to
So,
share.
and this started in Japan
Yeah.
hundreds of years ago. So it's like with the 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 acupuncture. It started at the same time, only we don't use the needles. So we just move through, clear out the body.
Do the acupuncture points. Isn't that
Yes.
interesting? I'd like to share my first time ever doing
Sure.
Reiki. I met a lady who does a lot of spirit work, and she referred me to another lady who was just kind of getting started it. And really, she was doing it in the basement of somebody else's house, because she like really didn't even have a place to live. So she was really brand spanking new. And I was just like, well, yeah, this is so, you know, whatever, I'm going to try this. And I lay down, and about into the 40th minute or so, tears are just coming down my face.
Right.
And I'm having a memory of a 16-year-old memory where a boy that I went to school with was climbing up a pole, and it was raining outside, and we were all at the park at the time. And he was trying to turn the lights out at the park. And to do that, you would flash a flashlight on the box. And then when the light hit the box, it would make the lights go out. So anyway, he was up there, he was trying to do that. And as he was doing that, he got struck by lightning, and he died right there. And we're all just kind of standing around him as the paramedics were trying to save his life. So during my Reiki session, like this was 30 years later, 35 or 40 years, I had no recollection really of holding that memory anywhere in my body at all. And that just came out, and I was just crying, and it felt so good to release that. I am sure that I had a lot of energy from that. I was only 16 and really didn't know how to really cope with that kind of thing. And I remember going to the funeral, being scared to death, and go to a funeral for a kid. And so anyway, it was interesting. Like that was my very first experience. Can you remember your first one?
Yeah, that was when my mom had just passed, and she was in the hospice, right, at the nursing home, and they didn't call for help at the time. And I knew my mom was passing, and she is screaming out for help, and she's pulling on me, and she's yelling, and I'm like, I'll get help. And because she has pain. And so I'm going out, and I'm telling the nurse, like, you really need to come see my mom. I think there is something. And actually I told the nurse, which I didn't understand. I said, the Reaper is next to my mom. You need to come help. And she said, what did you say? And I was like, oh, she just looks really, really bad, is what I said afterwards, because I didn't even read, I didn't connect that I had said that word to another person. And nobody came. So that was about 40 minutes of just going back and forth and trying to get her help. And then finally I said, it's okay to pass, Mom. It's okay. But she's pulling on me, she's yanking me. And I was basically saying, stop fighting this. You're 90 years old. You have cancer. I mean, she weighed like 75 pounds. It wasn't a life, her body was gone, at that point. And so then she finally did pass. And of course I go out into the hallway, and I finally go, all right, everybody, now Mom's dead. And finally nurses like swarm out from every place. And so after that, I was just like stunned with Like my mother just died in front of my eyes and nobody could help me. And I kept calling for help and I kept going for help. So,
And expecting,
and,
I mean,
right.
yeah.
She's supposed to be in she's supposed to be in this hospice, it's supposed to be great, it's supposed to be this. And the nurse turned out to be, she was brand new. She had just been hired and she hadn't been trained on hospice patients. So she didn't even know what to do, which was call them up and tell them to come over, which was really simple. So when I saw the Reiki lady, that started coming out. She's like, your mom's here and she's sorry. She's so sorry that you had to witness that and that she leaned on you so much, to help and everything. So she was saying things along, and I was like crying my eyes out too at the time, because I was like, I'm the kid. I'm not supposed to be, where are the doctors? Where are the nurses? It's supposed to be, let's get her out of her pain so then she can pass peacefully in your sleep.
Right. Yeah.
It's not peacefully in your sleep. It wasn't peaceful at all. So that was that trauma of
that's totally
of having that. So I went back to her a few more times, for that. And it just really helped. Afterwards, I just felt like, okay, I was there for my mom. I was helping my mom. As much as it hurt, I was able to flip it around.
And make something good out of it, because
yes,
it sounds like Reiki started from what was going on with your mom that then took you to the Reiki master, which then made you a Reiki master.
Yes. So I kept coming in, and then at night and everything, I'd have on some of the music, and I would wake up going, I had this dream and this and this and this and this. And my teacher was like, I think you can do this. I think you have a tie into this, so let's give it a try. So I was taking the classes and everything, and I was asking, like, why can I do this type of deal? And it turned out to be, I had forgotten about a time when I was 2, and I probably died. I'm not specifically sure, except for my mom said you were eating something at the kitchen table, you turned blue and passed out of the chair. I threw you in the car, drove you to the hospital, and then they took care of you. So I was like, was I allergic to something? She goes, yeah, I think so. Your throat all swelled up and you couldn't breathe anymore. So I'm thinking, by the time you throw your child in a car, drive to the hospital, I have a probably had to resuscitate me. I almost think she wasn't very good on those parenting facts. Yeah. But ever since then, like, I would wake up singing songs in a foreign language. And she'd be like, where did you learn that song? And I was like, oh, this nice lady taught me this song, or this person, I heard this from somebody else. And I always knew, like, if something bad was about to happen, like really, really bad, I just knew. But I always just followed my gut feeling that intuition. And we all have that, right? We all have that gut feeling. We just work on it more to understand it better. So as I was raised alone as an only child and had a lot of angry adults in the house, so I learned really fast how to protect myself and how to keep safe and
how to close things down.
Yep. And I know there were people who were like, how come you didn't turn out to be this way? And how come you didn't turn out to be that way? I said, well, I never wanted to be like that. I never wanted to be like that. I wanted to always help people. So even when I was younger, I would always have people coming over to be like, this happened. I got to tell you what happened. What do you think? So my parents thought I'd be like a psychiatrist. I can't say the word, a psych, and just hear people out with all their problems and everything. And I was like, no, just more of a teacher type. But I still do that though with the Reiki, because a lot of folks will come in when I find the hard spot that's blocked, and we start to talk about it, that they just release, and then I can give them a feedback about what to do about that, so that I feel blessed, and that I can do that and help people. And that's just my goal, is to help other people the way I was helped too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so beautiful that you had something happen, and then you kind of got the calling, and then all of a sudden you have memories of what that all looked like in your life.
Yeah.
And I think what we all forget is that God put us here to help each other.
Right.
And we each have our own specific individualized gifts. And part of what you're doing is just following that gift that you have and being open to receiving it and then sharing it, which is what I think we all need to be doing. And I think once the world kind of gets in alignment with what they're supposed to be doing, they become better at what they do. And part of that is doing energy work with you, or doing energy work with a practitioner, and learning how that energy can be moved from that ego fear to that place of love and understanding. So many of us are in this ego driven world where these are the rules, this is how we play. And when you start doing spirit work, we start reverting over into this atmosphere of love and acceptance of who we are and who we want to become. And it sounds like you have gifted that, and that's what you're gifting to the people that you work with.
Yeah, because I always just thought, even if I couldn't have it, why wouldn't I give that to somebody else? Because then I feel 1,000 times better if I get a chance to help somebody else. Because I'm like, just because I hear so many people, oh, well, I never had that. I never could do that. So why would I do this? Why would I do that? And that is just ego. And that is just being selfish. And instead of wanting the best for somebody else.
Right.
And helping them out. And it doesn't mean buying them things, it just means to physically.
So could you show us, like, when you're doing energy work, like let's say for a headache, how would that look? So like for somebody that's never seen any of this kind of stuff done before, just kind of like do a little example on yourself, how that would look.
Okay. Well, in the beginning, I would start with their feet, and I hold on to their feet, and I say like a small prayer there for the intention of healing. And then I go over to the crown of their head, and just like this, I put my hands over it. And I feel around to feel what it is. And many times when there are folks who have a lot, like they feel overstressed and they're busy, I actually get dizzy. And sometimes I've actually fallen over because, and I'll be like, what is going on? Why is what's going on in your head? You got so many things. And then it comes out like, well, I'm trying to plan a wedding, and I'm doing this, and this isn't work, or I got to sell my mom's house, and blah, blah, blah. So then we go down step by step, how to ease that and what needs to be done. And as we talk, I keep the hands over that area, and then it gets better, it gets better, and it gets better. So it's just more of the hands over on the side. I go up to here. So the whole time, I don't ever touch somebody. Don't ever touch, like around the throat, which I could stay here for myself today. Afterwards, I should do it, right? And sometimes they may have like a sore shoulder, so I will work on that. But each of us have our own specialty. As you might say, like some doctors are for the feet, for for the throat and the nose, right? So I've seen practitioners who really work with healing of medical, like I have a sore muscle, I have this, I have that, and can really pick out what's wrong for them to help them speak to a doctor then.
Nice.
Type like the lady that I saw, she got to my stomach and was like, what's going on here? I'm like, it hurts all the time. Here's what's going on. She's like, you need to get to a doctor. I said, I have an appointment, and I found out I was allergic to gluten and to dairy. And as soon as we took that out of my diet, felt 1,000 times better in the stomach. All those chakras were back in alignment. It felt good again. So we just go through from the top all the way to the root chakra. And then if it's like the heart, if you're over here at the heart that needs more work, I will go back to it. I also scan the body. I can go through and scan and feel parts that have either a dip or too much of the energy, then to go back and to level that out. But if you think of an atom, like our cells, all of our cells have an atom, right? And each of those have a nucleus and the protons and electrons. And when they fire off, they give off energy. Everything has energy. So that's why when it comes down to it, people are like, well, how does that work? Well, your hair has cells in it, your body, everything has energy, rocks, stones, flowers, trees, they all have energy.
Trees, of course. Yeah, something you don't even think about, the trees, right? Right.
So it's so funny because when I was at work and I started to tell people what I was doing, my science teacher was the biggest component. He's like, yes, I have science. He actually wrote out some of the authors that wrote about how valid this is, that it's not a fake thing. You actually move the energy around, and I know in order to pass to get my my certificates, I had to do it online too. So for this, I actually hold my hands here, and I imagine the parts of the body that you need to work on. So I would just stand here like this and focus. And then
so
I've had people be like, my back feels so much better. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, that worked. But energy travels, right? That's how we get our electricity and everything else through our cables. It travels. So everything travels. So
there's lots of practitioners that do it through the internet. And I think like when everything started with COVID, that whole healing thing kind of stopped. And then I'm certified in Reiki and pranic. My pranic healing practitioner gave us information about how to do that healing online, like you said. And you have the picture of the person on your computer along with what you're doing, and you just kind of work over that picture, and the amazing results that people get. I didn't personally do that with any of my patients, but she was getting almost better results, which I thought was very fascinating. Did you seem to think that was true for you too?
I'd say it's like 50-50. It kind of depends on the person. If some people are like, no, I have to see it. I have to be right there with you.
I like being right there. I want to be right there. Yeah.
And then some people are like, I live on a computer. I'm fine. Let's go do this.
And they have good results.
Yes, they have. I've done a few headaches and I've done some backaches. And then I've done just more of problem solving, more of the stress related. When I have a stress headache, I don't know what's going on, and then we just start to go through each of the chakras, and I'll be like, okay, I'm feeling this, here's what I'm hearing, what's going on. So
do you have a good case study for us of somebody that you worked with? And
a fun one that I have is a girl from work, and both of her parents have passed away this past year, and so she had a lot of trauma. She was always very depressed, and so I just said, look, it's free the first time. We're going to try this. You're going to feel great. And we started, and she again, had the tears flowing, but she was able to say things she didn't expect to say to other people, of how much she missed her parents, how unexpected things were. And she just felt better little by little. But her father is hilarious. So when I see her, he pops in all the time. And the one day I'm like, why this? Your dad has a dog. I'm like, why does he have a dog? And she's like, she kind of, oh my gosh. And I'm like, what's going on? She goes, my aunt's dog died on Friday. And it was like Monday afterwards. And she's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to tell my aunt that he has the dog. So that was the whole thing. And it was just this fluffy little white dog that was all over the place in my head. And I'm like, your dad brings in this dog and he's laughing at me, kind of deal. But you do get to meet people and get to see like more of them. Like if they had a kind of family members who are there and are so supportive. And no matter how many times we say the same thing and work on the same chakra, that they are there to bring forth those kind words and go over and over it until they achieve that healing. But one other client that I have is just, she's very unorganized and she does it on purpose. She's like, I just don't want to bother. I don't want to bother writing anything out. I just don't want to bother to do this or do that. And I was like, well, then you're going to stay in your chaotic state the way you are. So no matter how many times I come in and I work with you, you're always going to feel this way. You're not going to get better. So the one day she had called, she asked for one, but she was out of state. So I started and I couldn't see her at the time, but I heard get out. Oh no, it was get up and get out. So I said to her, I'm supposed to tell you to get up and get out. Well, she was in bed and it was like noon. And she was like, I just don't want to get out of bed, anymore, because it was the height of the pandemic. And then we worked through that. Yes, a lot of people feel this way. It really stinks, but you still have your company. You still have your, your animals. You still have your family. They're just on hold right now. So call people, Zoom people, but get out of bed. So she was just like, how did you know I was in bed? No idea. But no one else did know where you were. Oh. So I guess it's harder to describe to people because I don't come off and say, hey, I can connect with people. I don't do the I don't brag, in the sense of, oh, if you need a reading, I can give you a reading or something like that. No, I am here to help you with an issue, to heal, to feel better about an issue, or just to let off the stress for that day. So I've had some clients who come in because they just want to feel better for that day. And we go through and I've been like, your heart chakra's good. Your solar plexus. Yeah, this is all good. This is all good. And
almost I'm like a maintenance plan.
Yeah. And I'm like, and you're in because, and she's like, I just wanted to feel good. I just wanted. So it's just, I just often say it's just like a massage in the sun. It's
an energy
really
massage.
Good afterwards. Everything's worked out. All the knots get worked out, but it's with energy that we work out the knots. Yeah. It's not actually you're grinding into your muscles or anything painful like that.
Well, it sounds like your path going through the Reiki certifications probably began to heighten your spiritual connections. Is that true?
Yes. So first I started to get the connections, and that's how she knew that I could do this. Because for the schooling at the time, she actually selected the students, you just couldn't call up and be like, hey, I want to be a Reiki practitioner. You just had, it's just like not everyone can be a doctor,
right,
or a gymnast, or everything
Yeah.
else. But if you work hard enough at it, you can do it, right?
yeah,
So I was able to share a lot of things from my dreams and things I was seeing of the day. Like I actually saw my dad twice just sitting in my bedroom, and he's been dead for 24 years. And I was just like, my dad showed up. I was just kind of like, am I losing my mind, or is this? And she's like, no, you're not losing your mind. It happens.
so awesome. Well,
Yeah.
tell people how they can connect and find you if they want to work with you.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Well, there's a few ways. I have a website that's called a Reiki Chistine.com. So it's all one word, and it's REIKI. And then my full name, Chistine, spelled the old fashioned way, CHRISTINE. And on my web, and on my website, it will explain what I do, how the Reiki can help you, who will it help the most, and I do list some of the prices. But I'm very, very flexible, because my goal is not to make a profit. My goal is to help people with this. With their
And then you have a
better and
Facebook,
healing.
you have a Facebook page.
Yes. For that one is Reiki Chistine. I think it's the same thing. And that's on the Facebook.
Which one's Blue Moon Reiki?
That is the name of my company. It's called the Blue Moon Reiki with Chistine.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, but I do have a Gmail, which is probably the fastest way to respond to me. So it's healing, HELING, 4 Chistine, again, very long first name, at gmail.com. So I don't know if it will show up okay or not, but
yes, I can see that very good. Healing
okay.
for Chistine at gmail.com. I like that picture. Why Reiki? Who needs it? Natural healing.
It's holistic. So, and I have to say too, with my myalgia, they're always throwing pills at us. Oh, you should try this pill. And I was like, I don't want to take a lot of pills. I don't want all that in my system. What else can I do besides take this pill and that pill and that? And because they weren't really even helping in the first place. Mm-hmm. And when this came along too, I found that this helps my stress level, which then helps my pain level too.
It's a detox, and it helps your immune system. And part of the physiology for that is, like a small little part of it, besides all the other things, but it really moves us from that sympathetic to the parasympathetic through that relaxation technique that Reiki, through the whole Reiki energy, and then the whole process of the breath and the meditation part of it too, because that whole time you're just reverting from this crazy chaotic world into a brainwave of alpha, where it's very, very calm. So this is such a beneficial thing for people who have immune problems, fibromyalgia like you do, and so many disease process. Anything can have an emotional component to it. At the doctor's office, I always say, 80 to 90% of the people that come in because of some kind of emotion or stress response. And so trying to find other outlets for reducing the stress, especially like what we're talking about here today is the Reiki, it really does help people reduce the stress response. It's up to us to decide, what we're going to do to help ourselves. And you as a practitioner offer some really beautiful healing modalities, and anywhere that you can get somebody that's praying over you, I just don't know that there's any other better way. Yeah. So because I know too, we were told that we're providing the healing light of the energy through to people.
You know, it's coming through the higher good to come through to help on people. So that's why they always feel that little tingle on the hands. And every so often I will do, you know, I'll sit there and I'll just play myself with the energy. And I'm like, this is so cool. I mean, I've done it for a few years, but still I'm always amazed. Like, it's so cool. I can feel it.
Over time, I feel like my hands tingle a lot more.
Yeah.
Like when I first started doing any energy work, I feel now like that tingling is a very, very prominent. And I just like when you start feeling that, you just know like you're just in that zone. That's that's so cool.
The healing zone, we like to call it.
Well, all of us want to be in the healing zone because the opposite of that is disease and sickness. So I want to thank you for coming on with me today. I'd like to share this with all the people in my Facebook group page. One of the reasons that I'm doing this is because as a nurse practitioner, I have been born and bred in the physiology of medicine, not the energy. And I also learned energy work as a way to help myself heal through stress and anxiety. And so I offer that to patients when I'm doing functional medicine or I'm doing healing bowls or whatever that is. But when you're meeting a provider, and this is what she does all day, every day, it's such a beautiful thing. And I want everybody to know, like, there are a lot of ways, and I'm not saying that medication or going to see a counselor or psychiatrist, those are wonderful things. Those don't go away. This is an addition to those things. Or for people that don't feel like they need all that, this is a great way to kind of move your energy from that negative ego into that faith-based feelings and emotions that are becoming so aligned with who you are. So Chistine, I just want to thank you for all the work you're doing. I know that the people that are seeing you are so blessed and so lucky to have you. And so to everybody else, I'd just like to say thank you for listening. And please think outside the box. Make a call to Chistine or myself and start thinking about how to make your practice of healthcare different. Is there anything you'd like to add to that before we say goodbye?
I just hope that everyone has a chance to try the Reiki for themselves at one point to see what it's like. And if you're with a practice, you know, if you're with someone who wants $300 for an hour or something crazy like that, you might want to move on and look for somebody else, because there are people out there who will ask for outrageous prices. And then there's the rest of us who just want to make enough for our time and everything else, and just to pass on to help others heal, and just hope that they will feel the blessings and to feel that a peace in their life.
It's so beautiful. Okay, well, everybody, this is Chistine. You can find her on Facebook. You can find her online. Her online website is reikichistine.com. And her email address, again, is healingforchistine@gmail.com. And this is Donna Naumann, nurse practitioner. My Facebook group page is Healing and Energy Infusion. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye, Chistine.
Bye. Thanks. See you later.